Hello and welcome to Solent Sport News. Here is what's coming up in today's show. A blowout in Brisbane. England slumped to a 10-wicket defeat in the first Ashes Test down under. Goals, goals, goals and goals as Saints score 4 at home against a lacklustre Everton. And Kestrel's flying high. Team Solent basketball team begin their charge for the Bucks' Premier South title after a string of wins. Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Matt Clues and these are your latest sports headlines. Saints won 4-1 yesterday against a lowly Everton, heaping more misery on the Toffees. The victory moved Southampton up to 10th in the Premier League. We go live now to Miguel Mercado, who's at St Mary's.
Hello Matthew, we are outside St Mary's. We are outside St Mary's after Saints scored 4 yesterday as they poured more misery onto Everton's side. Charlie Austin scored the brace after he made his first start of the season. Dustin Tadic and Steve Davies scored either side of the strikers' double. The Merseysiders now looking for a new manager after Ronald Koeman's sacking. After this big win at home, I spoke with some Saints fans to see if this can be a turning point in the season. It's been a tough season so far for Southampton fans, with the team struggling to score goals. On Sunday, Southampton made a spectacular second half with Charlie Austin scoring twice in a 4-1 win. I spoke with Dean and Luke Parrington, two Southampton fans, about what they expect from the team and what changes should be made in the club.
I think we're almost in transition. We've got a brand new manager yet again, the third manager in as many years since Koeman left. I think we've got to be more patient. To be honest with you, we're very lucky to be in the Premier League. Give him a season, a couple of seasons, at least. I would say at least 3 more transfer windows. See how it's going then. But for the end of the season, I would take top half, 10th place right now.
I agree with you there. I'd definitely take top half. I'd like to see some similar sort of tactics as to what we were playing under like Pochettino, a lot more high press sort of stuff. I'd actually like to see our wingers going past our striker because then you can get balls into him, because it's just, at the moment, we give it to Gabbiadini or whoever's playing up front and they're isolated and they've got no one to help them.
I just think personally, I would like to see a bit more front and a bit more ambition when it comes to transfers. We seem to have taken a back seat, bringing up players that not many people have heard.
Dragos Kasvadan also joined us to give his view about Southampton this season.
I think the manager has to have a bit more influence there right now. It might be in terms of formation, style of play, it might be in terms of analysis, trainings, but the manager must be the one who's going to have to change some things right now, because player-wise, quality-wise, they have the players, they have the money, they have the facility, they have things. So.
Miguel Machado, Solent Sport News. So maybe this can really be the turning point in the season for Southampton. Back to you at the studio, Matt.
Thanks, Miguel. There was to buy for Mercedes as Valtteri Bottas won Formula One's final race of the season. The Finn finished ahead of champion teammate Lewis Hamilton at the Yas Marina circuit. It's the 11th 1-2 finish for the German manufacturer in 2017 and caps a successful campaign for the Silver Arrows after collecting both the constructors' and drivers' titles. Bottas was pleased with the win after struggling in the second half of the year.
Difficult start to the second half of the year. Working hard on all the issues and getting better and better with everything. And this weekend, just pole win. Couldn't be happier to end the season like this.
England's rugby league team came through a stern test against Tonga at the weekend to reach the World Cup final. After cruising to a 20-0 lead, they had to survive a dramatic late fight back, eventually running out winners 2018. They now face Australia in Brisbane in Saturday's final. England coach Eddie Jones won Coach of the Year at a New Zealand-dominated World Rugby Awards last night. Beauden Barrett won the top award for the men for a second successive year. Portia Woodman took the women's award after success in 15s and 7s, but Barrett says he wasn't expecting to keep his crown.
Be in the mix with the players, they were nominated, and All of those players had a great season, so yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, but to win it back to back, I'm hugely grateful just to be, part of an awesome All Blacks team, because, I'm only a small part of that team, and here I am getting the credit for it.
There's more bad news for the Russian athletes after the IAAF revealed they would leave their ban from track and field in place. Key Russian sports and political figures are continuing to deny any wrongdoing. Head of the IAAF Anti-Doping Task Force, Rune Anderson, explains his reasoning.
Unless there is an acknowledgement of what happened before, there can be no assurance that it will not happen again. Therefore, the task force recommended to the IAAF Council that RUSAF not be reinstated at this time.
England's cricketers have lost the first Ashes test in Brisbane by 10 wickets to Australia. There was a strong start to the first innings, including an 83 from Hampshire's James Vince. The Three Lions' chances were dented as they lost the final 6 wickets for just 56 runs at the Gabba. However, the focus has been on Johnny Bairstow since the close of play for an alleged headbutt on Australia's Cameron Bancroft a month ago. Players from both teams have played down the seriousness of the incident. Bancroft described it as a really weird greeting.
Very amicable conversation with Johnny, and he just greeted me with just a headbutt kind of thing. So I was expecting a handshake, but it wasn't the greeting of choice that I was expecting, and that was the way that I took it. There was certainly no malice in his action, and we continued on, having a very good conversation for the rest of the evening.
It's not just Australia where the cricket is taking place. As close to home, the South Hampshire Indoor Cricket League season is in full swing. Benjamin Johnston reports.
And with a powerful strike down the ground in great style, Australia win the first Test match.
With the Ashes series now in full flow between England and Australia down under, I went to Fleming Park Leisure Centre to see another type of cricket which has been embraced in Hampshire. I asked General Secretary David Peck and some players on their thoughts with the league.
When I started, there was 17 teams here. Last year there was 51. There's 3 divisions. There's the senior men's division. There's teams through the students. There's Solent University.
Hi, Mark Miller here, one of the Salisbury cricketers playing in the indoor league at Fleming Park. Have done for over 20 years. Thoroughly enjoy the competitive side of things. They're bringing in the ladies cricket as well. So yeah, thoroughly enjoy and keep up the good work.
So we've joined, this is our 4 years in. We've had a season off. We've joined it, it's a bit of fun.
With Joe Root being one of the youngest Test captains in world history, I asked some of the players on their thoughts of his captain abilities.
Pleasure of meeting Joe Root down at the Ageas Bowl as one of the groundsmen. He's a tremendous lad, very down to earth, tremendous talent, and I think he'll do an amazing job down in the Ashes.
I have to say I wish he was Indian and he was playing for us. And you guys, of course. Us. Yeah, you know what I mean. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Top player. Him, Virat Kohli, Stephen Smith. Top players. He's in that league. I think once he gets his team around him to do well, he'll have a great future.
Whilst observing the Indoor Cricket League, Chairman Tony Wharton spoke about his own involvement in an Ashes series.
The 70s, and I've got on my shirt here when we played Australia in this country.
To cap off my visit, I asked, can England win the Ashes?
England have obviously got off to a tough start in the Ashes. Looks as though they're going to lose the first one. As an Englishman, it pains me to say, I think they're going to come out on the wrong side this time, unfortunately.
Do I think England win the Ashes? Honestly, no. I hope that they give it their best shot. I hope they be competitive, but I have to be honest. Away from home, I reckon if it was over here, they would have held their own. Over there, I think the whole Stokes issue is a bit of a problem.
As far as the team in Australia now, I think we've got a good chance as long as somebody gets a big number.
Let's hope England can recover for the rest of the Ashes series. Benjamin Johnstone, Solent Sports News.
We're now joined by cricket journalist Ashley Wilby to talk about the first test. Disappointing defeat for England in Brisbane. What went wrong, in your opinion?
I mean, I think going into the series, it was hard for them. There was a lot of stuff going off the field, lots of new players coming in, and the whole debacle with Ben Stokes. To lose your vice-captain in such controversial situation is the leadership figure gone out of the side. I mean, players like Milan, Vince, all coming in for debuts. And it's a hard place to go. I mean, Brisbane, Australia haven't lost there in 30 years in an Ashes test, so I don't think they can take too much damage from the loss. But so, I mean, it's going to be hard, though, going into the next test.
So we go to Adelaide now, the first Ashes day-night test. What positives can we take from the first test?
I think knowing the unknown, that both sides have played limited pink ball cricket in day-night form. Anderson is likely to favour in them conditions. It's hard playing in these conditions, especially for a swing bowler like Anderson. He's 35 years of age now. He's England's key bowler. Jake Ball and Chris Wokes haven't performed at the moment. The last test they struggled. And batting as well. I think Australia will struggle with the conditions. It's more England favoured. So I think it will work definitely in their favour with the bowling. I mean, Josh Hazell will get a lot of movement. But I mean, it is going to be hard because, I mean, James Vince scored 83, Dawid Malan scored 56, so they've shown they're already capable of getting runs in the first test. It's just a matter of pushing on and getting a result and not letting the first test damage them too much.
I mean, is there any changes you would consider making?
I think they've stuck with this core 11 for most of the last couple of series of test matches. Every player's shown that they can score runs. I mean, I think they'll be mostly delighted with the fact that James Vince and Dawid Malan have scored runs for the first time really for England. I mean, players who normally score runs haven't scored runs. Alistair Cook, being the former captain, only scored 9 runs in the last match. So the players out there, Joe Root didn't particularly perform with the bat, and you know he's capable of doing that. And I think they need to brush off maybe the factor of Ben Stokes being back in the side and just focus on the team that they have in hand at the moment.
Thank you very much, Ash. That's great. Thank you very
worries.
much. France have secured their 10th Davis Cup title after Lucas Pouille defeated Stephen Darcy in Lille on Sunday. Pouille defeated the Belgian in straight sets to deliver their first title since they beat Australia in 2001. France's win marks the end of their 3 final losing streak dating back to 2002. Team Solent Kestrels continued their fine start to the season after winning both games of a double-header weekend. Earlier in the week, in a meeting of the division's top 2 teams, the Kestrels moved to the top of the Bucks Premier South after narrowly beating East London 93-92.
I felt it was a really good win. It was hard earned, fought well, managed to pull through down the stretch. Unbeaten as of yet, so hopefully we can keep the streak going.
After 19 days on the ocean, Spanish team Mapfre crossed the finish line in Cape Town in the first place among the 7 boats. Team Dongfeng fought very hard to catch up from the bottom of the fleet last week to the second finisher in leg 2 from Lisbon to South Africa, with less than 3 hours gap behind the Spanish team. Here's Caroline Brewer from Dongfeng.
We can get ourselves in some pretty bad situations, and I guess the worst bit would then be, leading the fleet for almost over half of the race and then losing it overnight was pretty harsh. So that is definitely my worst part. And the best bit is always just, how we work together as a team to fight back again. And we've shown it in leg 1, and we showed it now again, where we from a bad situation we make a good situation, and from something we've done wrong we make it right.
It wasn't all about the result at St Mary's on Sunday, as this weekend football hosted the Rainbow Laces campaign. It aims to promote LGBT equality in sport through the use of rainbow-coloured laces. This was also included at Solent University, where they run their own campaign. Chris Loader has more.
Weekend saw Southampton Football Club, amongst other teams from the Premier League, join forces for the Rainbow Laces campaign for the LBGT community. We have been talking to David Wright from the LBG team at Southampton Solent University about what this means for their awareness.
The Rainbow Laces campaign, I think, is probably one of the most important things that we do across the course of the year as the LGBT community now. It's been running for about 4 years. Stonewall started it in 2013. sport is still one of those areas, I think, where LGBT people, whether they're playing sport or whether they're part of the spectators, can still feel quite uncomfortable.
However, it hasn't been the Premier League promoting the Rainbow Laces. The sports teams at Southampton Solent University have been getting behind the scheme.
Southampton, we have very strong policies in place for LGBT students and staff to make sure they're well supported here at Solent. I'm delighted that this is the first year that Sports Solent teams have got behind the Rainbow Laces campaign, and we've seen them donning their rainbow laces in their games over the weekend and through this coming week as well. Sport is a fantastic and important part of what the university does here. I think it's tremendous to see that we're taking a lead in this really important area and saying we won't tolerate hatred, and we will get behind the LGBT community, whether they're playing sport or whether they're actually spectators, and make sure that they're well supported when they're attending games.
That's all for now. For more, head to solentjournalism.co.uk.